Welcome to r/Entitledparents, where a Karen pushes someone into an active table saw. Our next Reddit post is from BG Hefu. Me and my friend, Kylan, work in a woodworking company. It's a pretty great job for me because I love hands-on activity and creating things. Kylan, however, has more of a difficult time with it, which is completely fine because I help him with it. His mom and my mom aren't necessarily close. However, they both do support me and Kylan in our work. We're both pretty young, so it helps to get our mom's reassurance. But a few days before this incident, I started to realize that Kylan's mom never really acknowledged my work. Now, that's not really a big deal to me because I don't require praise, but I do find it a bit weird because Kai's mom has apparently had a few racial incidents at her work and I'm African. I just assumed it was because she was afraid of me. I'm a pretty built guy and 6'6". Fast forward to Tuesday, and I'm working on a wooden chair that has taken me a few more attempts than wanted. The table saw I'd been using to make clean cuts was pretty rusty from Kai using it constantly. I went out to the department store to get a replacement, and I was a bit annoyed with Kai for not doing it himself. I came back and said, "Hey man, don't be afraid to change your equipment," and he rolled his eyes and just replied with, "K," which annoyed me even more. I just pushed past it and continued with my work. But minutes later, I heard Kai laughing and I looked up to find him laughing at my cutting. This made me extremely upset because I've been working almost all day and night while he only works 7 or 9 hours. This, along with his mom recently coming into the shop and laughing along with him. This got to me, so I walked over to Kai and told him a few words that I shouldn't have. He immediately got defensive and pushed me back, and I was about to strike back when his mom instantly joined in with him, and she intentionally pushed me to the left where the saw was, which stupidly I left on. As soon as I was pushed back, the back of my hand was shoved right into the saw, causing blood to gush everywhere. My hand was basically split in half, with a huge gap between my pinky and ring finger. The shock kicked in, and I instantly grabbed my hand and shouted for my mom who was on the other side of the shop. She immediately got an ambulance, and I was sent to the closest hospital. Kai has been texting me almost every day apologizing for his mother. The only text I got from her said, "This was your fault. Do not try to hurt my son." Also, down in the comments, OP clarifies that he's 17, so this lady pushed a minor into a table saw. So yeah, OP, if I were you, I would go straight to the cops. What she did is way over the line. Our next Reddit post is from Light Fury Dragon. I'm a 27-year-old woman and I have a black horse named Ebony. I keep her at a boarding stable where I used to get riding lessons before getting my own horse. For some reason though, horses tend to attract entitled people since this wasn't my first encounter with them there. So I had my horse tied up in a second room where you can groom them and be able to tack them up. I was brushing her down when an entitled kid showed up wanting to pet Ebony. I told the kid not to pet my horse since I didn't know this kid and it's not a good idea to go near strange horses with the risk of being kicked since horses can kill if they kick. The kid screams out, "Mommy, she won't let me pet the black horse." That's when the Karen shows up, huffing. "Lady, I have a kid and she wants to pet your horse." "No, it's not a good idea to pet strange horses since they can be skittish," I told her. "My child wants to pet your horse though. She only likes black horses and the trainer only let her ride a white one," she snapped. "I'm sorry, but this isn't the trainer's horse, it's mine, and the horse the trainer brought out is better with new people. Others, not so much." Right then, we heard the entitled kid scream and her hand was bleeding since she tried petting my old trainer's new horse. She was trying to pet the trainer's other horse, which was black, and that horse didn't like strangers at all, resulting in the kid getting bit pretty hard. My old trainer came out to see what was going on, and I'll say that he's someone that you do not want to mess with. After I explained what happened and what was going on, my old trainer snapped at them, telling him to leave and find another place to ride. Since not only did this kid get bit for not listening, but was yanking on and using spurs on his other horse, which isn't allowed. I just smirked when the Karen and her kid were kicked out, never to be seen again. Our next Reddit post is from Cautious Twist. I went out on Friday for a few hours with some friends. Just some shopping and catching up. I haven't seen some of them for the last 2 years due to COVID, and we used to hang out almost every week. Also, I'm leaving the country in a few weeks, so we took this opportunity to catch up and have a farewell party. I was out of the house from late afternoon to about 9:30 p.m. When I got home, I took out my keys to unlock the gate, but my keys wouldn't fit. I called my mother and she didn't pick up. I called my grandmother, who lives with me, but she was out with her friends as well, and she wouldn't be home anytime soon. At this point, I was pissed. My mother already burned a couple of my work pants the day before because I refused to wear a dress for work. My line of work requires me to move around a lot, so a dress or an office skirt wasn't suited to my environment. I shook the gate, but no one was home, so I picked the lock. I managed to open the metal gate after a few tries. The neighbors called the cops, and of course, I had to show them that I actually lived there and this was my legal address. I took some essentials and I went to stay at my friend's house for the night because I couldn't lock the door behind me, and I didn't feel safe in the house without a locked door. The next day, my grandmother and I were invited to go to a pre-wedding event. My mother only sent me the address and time, so I didn't know exactly what I was walking into, but this was normal behavior for her. We showed up on time to the cafe, and we were escorted to a booth-type seat at the corner of the cafe. The booth already had a middle-aged lady sitting there and a guy. I assumed that she was the mother and the guy was her son. The moment we sat down, the lady took out a calendar and notepads filled with flower arrangements, color schemes, menus, dresses, hairstyles, etc. She introduced me to her son, who's 28 by the way, told me what he does for a living, what he studies, and where. Then she thanked me for agreeing to marry him. I looked at her, then to her son, then to all the wedding plans and notes. At that moment, it finally registered that this was all for my wedding. My grandmother was pissed, to say the least. I apologized to the lady and said there must be some kind of misunderstanding between us because I came to attend someone's engagement party, not plan my own. Also, I added that I had only recently turned 20. My grandmother then rudely asked the woman why she thought that I would be marrying her son. The lady replied that my mother had contacted her and said that I was looking for a partner and husband to settle down so I could finally move out of the house. My grandmother calmly said to the lady that she had been lied to, and I was not going to be getting married anytime soon. She said that her son seems nice, and she hopes that he finds someone he'd like to marry in the future, but it's not going to be me. When we got home, I found my things stuffed in a black plastic bag beside the door. My grandmother opened the door and told me to bring my stuff in. The moment I stepped through the door, my mother yelled that she put so much effort into finding a guy who would take a girl like you, and that I should be grateful that she didn't just marry me off to an older dude, and I should be happy she found someone my age. She told me that I embarrassed her because the other woman called her and told her that what she did was not okay and to never do it again. My grandmother started to shout at my mother in Cantonese, which resulted in them being in a heated argument for almost 30 minutes. And as a result, my grandmother kicked out my mother, which, of course, she moaned and cried about before leaving. Man, OP, you're really lucky that your grandmother was on your side and not your mom's side. Because if your grandmother didn't have your back here, you'd be out on the streets. Our next Reddit post is from Cream Puff Delight. I'm sorry if this is the wrong place for this, but this just happened and I'm still a little pissed off. I've never hidden the fact that my father and I are estranged due to him cheating on my formerly doormat of a mom when I was still young. Allegedly because she had cancer and she had to chop off her breasts and was thus, in his exact words, no longer a woman. Yes, I know, insane logic, but logic has never been his strong point. Nor have I ever hidden the fact that I resented him for favoring my golden eldest brother exclusively, to the point where he was the only one of 4 kids to ever get birthday presents. Either way, my tiny little Asian mom finally found some spine and divorced him. Okay guys, I gotta take a quick break here and say, there is no rhyme or reason to the stories that I'm picking today. I literally just went to rSlash and looked at what got a lot of upvotes. But coincidentally, I'm like 3 for 3 today of stories about really terrible Asian parents. So I don't know why all the stories today are about terrible Asian parents. I just want you to know that I'm not like intentionally doing this. This is just kind of how the cards were dealt today. So anyways, back to the story. My dad fought for custody of my oldest brother at the time, and only my oldest brother. The rest of us could F off. Literally, he kicked his own kids out of his house. And my mom, being the perfect Asian doormat of a wife, had no way of fighting it. She had no work experience, she was in a foreign country, and she had zero savings. So yes, I still remember this from almost 20 years ago, and I fully admit that I still have a very big grudge against him. In fact, I distinctly remember telling him to F off to his face on more than one occasion after reaching adulthood, and to never expect me to donate to him, even the dirt on my shoes at his funeral. He still tries to get in contact with me regularly despite that. He wants to persuade me to have kids because, surprise, surprise, my oldest brother turned out disappointing, or in his words, utter trash. Personally, I think my older brother is doing okay. Not great, but not getting into Harvard excelling like he used to. So apparently, I'm now the better option to provide for his perfect heir. He acts as if kicking me out of the house with my mom and 2 sisters so that we had to be homeless for years never really happened at all. So somehow, he ended up marrying a 3rd woman who was even younger and prettier than the 2nd one. Since then, not counting the 4 of us, he has 8 kids, the youngest of whom is only 7 years old or something, while the oldest of the other 4 just hit college age. You see, my dad is filthy rich from playing the stock market and sweeping up real estate during the Great Depression in 1998. This played a lot into him acting like he was a big shot, self-made foreign businessman who donated actively and was a philanthropist. So I know that he has money because I see him do this stuff all the time. Not by choice, he's just a rather public figure in my country. Today, out of the blue, he suddenly called me and said that he was going to be sending me a receipt for one of his kids' college. No hello, no nothing, just straight to business. He worded it as if it was a done deal and that I was going to fork out $50,000 for sure because I'm finally earning my own keep, so it's my turn to contribute to the family. And sure enough, I got an email from him. A receipt for the first year of college, plus various expenses. $70,000. I just hung up on him, and I'm seriously considering moving to another country to get rid of him once and for all. Our next Reddit post is from Magikarp is Best. I was on a client's boat to take measurements for a job they would like me to do. The place they're docked is alongside a lovely sidewalk that's open to the public. I was on the front deck when I heard a family walk by. I was aware of them, but I didn't look up until, "Excuse me." It spooked me because they were so close, so I looked up. A mother and her child were standing on the sidewalk in front of the boat. "Sorry, you snuck up on me. Can I help you?" "Hey, can you watch my kid for a minute?" No explanation, no greeting, nothing. I was stunned into silence for a second while my brain tried to process. The mother took this time to interject before I could reply. "It's okay. She can just hang out on your boat with you." She what? Her kid looked to be about kindergarten age, maybe even younger. Before she could start walking towards the pier, I finally gained enough brain power to speak. No, sorry. This isn't even my boat." "Oh, well, whose boat is it?" "It's my client's boat." "Can't she come on?" "Ma'am, I'm working," I said, raising my voice a bit and holding up a bunch of measuring tools. "It's just for a minute," she urged. I was appalled. "Sorry, no can do." I was about to say more, but she interrupted before I could continue. "Well, can you get off the boat and watch her here, then?" I gave her another stunned look. "I am working," I said, a bit slower. "And I'm sure my boss wouldn't appreciate me watching strange kids while I'm on the dock." Again, I was about to say more, but her kid was whining and pulling violently on her mother's hand. "Fine," she snapped suddenly, dragging her child away up the steps. Not gonna lie, it was really odd and unnerving, and my heart was beating really fast. I'm legitimately shocked because boats and docks are not a safe place for kids, especially without a life jacket. And a strange kid, not knowing if they can swim or their water history, what about their behavior or if they'll even follow safety instructions? Why would you give your kid to a complete stranger who's working in a place that's not safe or suitable for a kid while they're working? I'm a stranger! I should ask the owner of the boat if they can reverse their boat into the space next time so I don't have to face the general public while working anymore. There's a word that I want to talk about, but I can't say it on YouTube, but it starts with P-E-D. And I'll let you guess the rest of that word. What I don't understand is, if you're a parent, Why on earth would you think that it's a good idea to give your kid to some random person and be like, hey, could you watch my kid? Because what if they're one of those, words I can't say on YouTube? I mean, like what's the logic? Those people that start with the letter P, they're not allowed to own boats, I guess? Is that the rule that she thinks exists? So therefore, OP is safe to watch the kids? What? Huh? What? What's the logic? Oh, I wish that little girl the best of luck. If she's kindergarten age and she's probably like, 3, she has to survive a good 15 years without her mother killing her or forgetting her in the grocery store or handing her off to some random person who has no business being around kids. So good luck, little girl. With a mom like that, you're going to need all the luck you can get. That was r/Entitledparents. And if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.